Hello, hello. We are in week 4 of our postage stamp quilt sew along. So we are again, just to recap, we're using the Easy Piecing Grid from 10 Sisters. Um, we have selected what grid size we wanted to use out of the 4 different sizes. If you've missed any previous videos, you can go back and watch them. They all stay here forever. So if you're catching this video 2 years from now, you can totally go back and watch the rest of them. But this is going to be the 4th installment. We have selected our size of grid. We have cut all of our squares to the correct size according to which size grid we selected. We have glued them on. Remember we talked about you could use the 505 glue, you can use school glue. Just make sure that you let it dry before you do this step. You want to make sure this is different angle today because I needed y'all to be able to see what I'm doing. And so you want to make sure that you're not seeing any purple. So both of the options I gave you, the glue is actually purple and it dries clear. So you want to make sure that it has dried clear. And you can see, because we glued this, I can now move this around and it won't hurt anything. So if you want to do your entire quilt in stages, you completely can. So you want to, you know, get all of your squares cut and then glue them all on and then do all of the pressing at one time, all of the sewing at one time. That's probably the easiest way to kind of batch it. That way you're not jumping from cutting to gluing to sewing to, there's just a bunch of back and forth. I like to do all of the like things together at the same time. Now today you're going to need your fusible grid that you've glued all your squares to. You want to make sure that you've filled in all of the squares. You're also going to need your iron, which this is just a Black & Decker I buy off of Amazon. I don't have an expensive iron. For me, it's not really worth it. But if you have one of the fancy irons, you do what works for you. I just chosen not to spend the money on that. If you did not get a set of instructions in your grid when you ordered it from the website, you can get it from, just as to have as a refresher, you can get it from 10sisters.com. They have some printable guides on their website. You can go there and download the this is called Easy Piecing Instructions. I try to include it in all of the orders. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I have forgotten, but I'm human, guys. The other thing that's going to be very, very important is your silicone sheet. This is I have some in the shop on the website. It's called an applique sheet and it has a ton of different uses. Today we're going to use it to keep the fusible grid or the glue off of our iron. So it's going to be very, very, very important. Make sure that the bumpy side is up right here, because that is that's the side you want to glue to. That's where you want to, that's actually the glue. All the little bumps are actually the glue. So now the key here is you want your iron hot. I have it on cotton settings. I did look at the instructions to see if it gave you a specific setting. You might be able to get away with a little bit lower. This is just kind of what I keep it on. But again, do what works for you. Remember, when you're quilting, you're going to press, not iron. So here we want to press it just for a few seconds, just long enough for that adhesive to melt and to adhere the fabric to the interfacing. So I am just going to start here at the corner and make sure that everywhere you're putting the iron, making sure that the silicone sheet is underneath it. Okay. And I'm just going to work my way. And I'm kind of picking it up. You can't really tell. I am kind of taking the weight off of it as I move it. I'm not just pressing down on it and ironing it. Oops. I went too far. hopefully. So I don't know if y'all can see this. Let me see. Right here, there's a line. I accidentally went too far and got that adhesive on there. So the key thing with these silicone sheets is you want to let it cool before you try to remove it. It does not take the adhesive off. Nothing will stick to these sheets. So now that I have pressed that one section, I'm good, and it's cooled enough, I'm going to peel this off. Now I can see right here that this piece got folded over. So I am just going to go back over this and iron that back down, press that back down. I want to make sure, and that's a good thing, make sure all your pieces are flat when you put this on there. Now I will here in a minute when we're done with this, go back and clean off the iron. Right now it's not going to hurt anything. So I'm not pressing anything else except for this. Okay. Okay. So now these are ironed down. This also makes the glue permanent. So the glue sticks that we used before, if you're using the 505, the school glue is permanent anyway, or supposed to be. You can kind of coax it off. The 505 is temporary until you press it. Once you put heat to it, and that goes for the spray and the glue stick, once you put heat to it, it is no longer temporary. So you are just going to, on all of your panels, you are going to slowly work your way. Let's see, how far did I go? I did all the way to that one. I want to do this one now. Okay. Now I want to make sure that I'm not pressing back over here where I already pressed, because that's not where my silicone sheet is. Don't be like me and accidentally get adhesive on it. It just takes a few seconds for it to adhere. I'm going to do this last little bit. Did remember to move it this time. And then I'm just going to start the next section. I do kind of recommend that when you start the next section, you start overlap a little bit, just to make sure that you got it all really, really well. Okay, so this is all we're doing for this one. So for every panel that you have already sewn together, you are going to iron it. You're going to press it. So again, the silicone sheet is necessary. You don't want to use like just a pressing cloth, another piece of fabric, because while yes, that will keep the glue from getting on your iron, it won't keep it, your fabric, your pressing cloth will adhere to all these little openings. Okay, these openings are important because the squares are printed slightly bigger than the squares you're cutting, so that when you go to fold it, it folds nice and clean. Because next week we are going to actually start folding it over and stitching it. So you want it to fold nice and clean. If you have the grid printed the exact 2 inches that you're cutting your fabrics, they tend to butt up too much and overlap, and they just don't lay as pretty. So they have printed them just a smidge bigger, not enough to make a difference in the end product, but made them just a little bit bigger. So that is your homework for this week. If you are caught up, if you're not, you can go back and get caught up. And then you're going to press, so that next week we are going to start sewing this together. So I know this is a little bit different angle than what we are normally at, but I needed you to be able to see. Next week we will be at the sewing machine, and I haven't decided. I may get my little machine and put it here so that I can kind of be somewhat normal. But anyway, y'all, if you have any questions, I've had several of you reach out, send me a DM or send me an email with questions. I am happy to answer those at any time. I have plenty of grid. If you are wanting to join us at any given time, you're welcome to order the grid from me. You're welcome to use whatever grid you want to use, but it is available on the website. and I will make sure that the link is posted, and so everybody can catch up. I hope y'all have a great week. Happy sewing, and I'll see you next time. Bye.